All right, that time again. It's the Metallist. Gonna go for a little controversy today. This is just something I was kind of thinking about the other day. I was like, that's kind of interesting. So I'm expecting some good comments from you folks, like, "Oh, you're crazy. Check out this tune. Check out this album." Let me know. I'm not against it. And today's topic is 10 bands or artists that I feel like I should like them more, but I just don't. And there's a few of them that I just don't, So let's see what you think about this. And like I say, some of them, like I say, are going to cause some hurt feelings with some of the people that I know. And I apologize in advance, but I'm just telling you how it is. Just kind of being real. Okay. All right. So first one up. This one hurts. I'll be honest. This is because I had a very dear friend, Mike, and all of a sudden he was just gone. 45 years old, gone. And loved this guy like a brother. And his favorite band was Triumph. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mike. Mike made it his mission to make sure I had the entire Triumph catalog. And out of respect to him, I still own the entire Triumph catalog. Do I listen to it? No. Sorry. I don't know. They just don't catch me. I mean, obviously some of the big hits, Lay It on the Line, fantastic song, Fight the Good Fight, that's good stuff. Magic Power, not too bad. But, like I said, the deeper cuts, I don't know. They just don't catch me. And I want to like them, and I think Rick Emmett has a great voice. He's a great guitarist. Gilmore's a great drummer. I don't know. It just doesn't catch me. And like I said, I own the catalog. Not that I've listened to it much, but I own the catalog. So, if you guys have any suggestions, like, you really should go back and check out this particular album or these couple cuts or whatever, I'm all for it. Okay? So, Triumph fans, keep that one in mind. Next up, U2. Quite frankly, I just don't like U2. I tried. I really tried. I mean, I own, I think, Boy and October and Under a Blood Red Sky. I saw them play at the Cleveland Agora in 1981, although, truth be told, we pretty much went because the opening band was an all-female metal band called Bitch, which I thought was kind of funny. Yeah, I want to see the Cheap Trick shirt a little better. That's good. Okay, and then I went with a bunch of college friends a few years later when they were, like, getting really big. Unforgettable Fire, I think, was the tour. And I'm just sitting there, and, they're up there playing, and they're doing their thing, and the crowd's going wild, and I'm like, are we done yet? Oh, I'm so bored. Sorry. I tried. And then, I've paid attention to them through the years, and I don't know. I just don't get it. And obviously they fill stadiums, so somebody gets it, but it's not me. But that's something I kind of learned when I was working at a CD shop, is there really are no bad bands or bad artists. There's just bands you get and bands you don't get. And I don't get U2. I've tried. I really have. But, like I said, and then much past probably War, which was kind of a big record, I didn't pay much attention. I'm like, Pride in the Name of Love, I don't need to hear that again. One, please, none for me, thanks. And they've gone through their different sort of, I want to say, incarnations. I don't know if they were trying to reinvent themselves like Bowie or something like that. Nice light flicker, right? But anyway, yeah, I don't know. But again, like I said, I'm open. You want me to listen to a particular YouTube track of some kind, or, check out a later album that maybe I don't really have any knowledge of, I'm game. So let me know in the comments. That would be cool. Next up, and I don't like this band either, and never really did, The Police. A lot of people love them. Fine. Enjoy them. I'm so glad you like them. For me, it was just like, And honestly, the tune that really did me in was Message in a Bottle. And it's fine. It bubbles along comfortably until you get to the end. And I've counted it. Sending out an SOS 49 times in a row before it fades out. Ugh. Where's the high ceiling of the short rope? Come on, man. I'm done. I can't deal with it. All right. And I kind of like Synchronicity too. That one's not bad. And I've heard their songs through the years. But like I said, there's deep cuts and things like that I don't really know. So, again, Police fans, step on up. Let me know. I'll be glad to take a listen. I really will. Okay. Number 4 on the list. My apologies go out to my good buddy Chuck. Dream Theater. I think they're just too much for me. I mean, they are amazing, amazing musicians. Okay. And I wanted to kind of be on board. I mean, back in the day when Pull Me Under came out, I'm like, okay, that tune's pretty badass. I like that. You know, that's a cool song. Portnoy, Mike Portnoy, unbelievable drummer. They're all unbelievable musicians. But Portnoy to me really was just the cream of the crop of this particular group of very, very talented guys. But like I said, I mean, I love Mike with the Winery Dogs, you know, with the mighty Billy Sheehan and Richie Kotzen, you know, fancy little power trio. Those guys are great. Seen them live, own all their records, love it. Dream Theater, I don't know. After about 10 minutes or so, my head's just spinning. Maybe it's just, you know, maybe it's just above me here. You know, it's just too high up. You know, I don't get it. You know, it's too many notes per minute. And I like lots of notes per minute. I went through my Yngwie Malmsteen phase, trust me. You know? So I kind of like, you know, all that noodly, you know, fast stuff. But yeah, these guys after a while just make my head spin. So I guess in general, I'm not much of a prog rock guy, although I was a prog rock guy more as a kid. I liked Genesis and Yes and that kind of stuff. You know, I liked Yes quite a bit. You know, I've seen them several times and own most of their records. But yeah, I think when you get into really, really major prog, like my buddy Chuck has, he goes on whole cruises of nothing but prog bands playing. Like, oh my God. I think I'd be jumping overboard after a while. It's just too much for me. So Dream Theater. Sorry about that, Chuck. Also, sorry to Chuck and a lot of you other guys. And this one comes with a little bit of a caveat. Rush. Now, before you go nuts and lose your freaking mind, here's the deal. I love Rush up to Permanent Waves. So in that case, I do kind of like the proggy, more lengthy things they were doing. And I thought Permanent Waves was a nice shift, you know, and they sort of went modern there. And then Signals came out. What does Signals sound like to me? It sounds like The Police with Geddy Lee singing. Could be wrong on that. But, and then too many keyboards and stuff. I was just like, oh, I don't know. Went to see Rush on that tour, which is actually the last time I saw Rush. And I just remember sitting there, you know, and Alex is over there. He's playing all those funky little weird chords and stuff. And I'm just like, oh, yeah, okay. And then they finally, you know, so they played a couple of new tracks. And then they played, it was Free Will. And, you know, he does that bit where he goes between the rhythm and the lead part, you know, he gets in, na 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 na. The whole place stood up and roared. I'm like, hello, yeah, that's what we want. Give us the massive solos, you know, that kind of stuff. You know, have a little Bytor and the Snow Dog or something like that. But that's just me. Now, I've heard some tunes, particularly I remember Counterparts. I remember liking that one pretty well. That's from like 94, something like that. But yeah, I mean, it just got to the point where it's like, and I'm glad they did their own thing. I mean, I certainly wouldn't want them to have done Moving Pictures, you know, 10 times in a row. You know, plus, I mean, and I don't dislike Moving Pictures other than the fact, you know, hearing it for the first 100,000 times or so, I'm good, you know. So I don't really dislike those songs, but for the most part, I don't need to hear any of them again. Still like Permanent Waves. Natural Science, amazing. Really love that one. You know, Jacob's Ladder is very cool too. You know, like I said, you know, but like the hits, I was like, okay, I've heard them enough too. Not that they're bad. Okay. So, and I used to express that opinion when I worked at the CD shop back in the 90s. And the Rush people are Rush people. I will grant them that. They have a fan base that very few bands can, you know, even hope to have. Okay. But I tell them, I'm pretty much was done with Rush in 1980. And they just look at me like I just said something bad about their mother. Ooh. Nasty. So next band, kind of the same thing. Aerosmith. After 1979. Okay. You know, I actually made up my own little meme one time. I found a picture of Aerosmith where these dudes look like they had been up for about 3 days. Okay. I mean, they look a mess, right? So I found this picture and I wrote across the top of the meme, I wrote Aerosmith. And underneath it, I wrote, heroin really does make better music. In their case, it did. And so, like I said, you know, when they had the big comeback, well, they had several big comebacks. Some things I like here and there. Usually the deeper cuts, not necessarily the big hits. I thought Done with Mirrors was pretty cool. Permanent Vacation was a little suspect, but like Hangman Jury, awesome song. Okay. And Pump, the first two tracks on Pump, I think, are the last really great Aerosmith songs for me, which would be Young Les and Fine. Those two songs, I'm just like, yeah. They got the swag, they got the swagger. I mean, it's just good stuff. Okay. Other than that, I mean, by the time they got to the thing, Just Press Play, I was like, yeah, I don't know about this. And beyond that, I don't know. I pretty much lost touch. So again, any later Aerosmith you think I ought to take a listen to, I'm all for it. Okay, cool. Next up, veering a little bit away from what I usually talk about, a guy I really want to like, and I really like him as a person and what he represents and everything else, but I just can't do the tunes, Johnny Cash. I mean, let's face it, the dude was a rock star before there was a rock star. Walk the Line is a cool movie. I don't know how true it is, but it's, there's some cool stuff. And he just seemed like a genuine cat, right? But the music, it's just not my thing. I used to say that I kind of like country music till the early 70s because my grandmother used to listen to a lot of that stuff, so I was familiar with all that really, really old country music from like I say, the 50s, the 60s, and about 72, I think, is where I would put the cutoff for myself. Well, my wife likes country music, and she started visiting some of the old stuff because the new stuff is just pop music with a twang, let's face it. Okay. And she started kind of adventuring into the, the Waylon and the Willie and, Johnny and that kind of stuff. And I started, and I was kind of starting to listen to it. I'm like, yeah, I guess I really don't like old country music. I just don't like country music. That's me. Sorry. I still stand by the statement. I've thrown this out at a couple people I've known for a long time that are into country music now. I said country music is just for people that are too old to rock and roll. And I might be old, but I'm not too old to rock and roll. That's me. Okay. So country music, like I said, all those guys, well respected, but it's just not my thing. Just not my thing. Okay. What do we got now? Notice I have notes for a change, right? All right. Next one. Another guy. Mad respect. Huge talent. Amazing dude. Right? Don't want to listen to his records. Prince. Okay? Again, a little too far on the funk side for me, but I mean, the guy's abilities were undeniable. And the greatest proof I have for that, if you haven't seen it, go YouTube this as soon as you're done with this. Okay? Go YouTube the George Harrison tribute, While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Prince comes out he's there, but he really comes out to do the solo, the outro solo of the song, and it is unbelievable. It is so good. It is so good. It's one of the greatest things I've ever seen. And probably the coolest part of the whole thing, I don't want to spoil it for you, is check out what happens to his guitar at the end of it. I'll just leave it at that. That way you can go check it out. But again, like I said, mad respect for the guy, but don't want to listen to his records? No, I just don't. And I've heard a lot of them like everybody else. But again, I don't know the deep cuts. If you guys want to say, hey, because I have a lot of bands that are represented by, one or two songs and everything. Yeah, that stuff, like Mr. Big, for example. To Be With You is not a representation of Mr. Big by any stretch. Okay. Another one is Extreme, with More Than Words. That's not those dudes at all. I mean, honestly, I thought Three Sides to Every Story. I was thinking, man, these guys are going to be the next Queen if they keep going like this. And then Waiting for the Punchline came out, and they kind of broke up. And okay. So what I'm saying is, there's just some things. It's just like, if I only know the hits and I don't know the good stuff, let me know what the good stuff is, because I haven't invested the time to figure that out. Cool. All right. These last two, man, I am ready for the wrath because I know it's coming. All right. And again, I don't dislike either of these bands. I like both these bands. I just don't feel like I like them as much as I should. Okay. Number one, the Ramones. Yes, I've seen the Ramones. I played in a band that sounded a lot like the Ramones. I have a Ramones t-shirt. Well, actually, my wife usually wears it. But I have a Ramones t-shirt. I have some of their records. I've seen them many times. I just don't want to listen to them. That's just me. Okay? But I totally respect what they did. Influential, yes. Should they be in the Hall of Fame? Of course. But like I said, day in and day out listening, again, not for me. Okay? And the last one's even worse. Oh, Oh, I know my buddy Joe is going to have a comment for me on this one because I know he loves these guys. And like I said, I don't dislike them. I just don't feel like I like them the way I should. Motorhead. Yeah, I said it. Motorhead. Now, let me clarify. I love Lemmy. Everybody loves Lemmy. Lemmy was one of the coolest guys that ever lived. He was like a freaking superhero, right? He was just so cool. It's undeniable. But do I want to listen to Motorhead songs day in and day out? No. I tried, and I own a lot of their records. I've seen them a bunch of times. All incarnations. I mean, I actually saw them with Fast Eddie and Filthy back. They opened up for Ozzy Osbourne in 1981. Ace of Spades tour. Ace of Spades, undeniable, a classic, a towering classic, right? And they have a lot of good songs, but do I want to just listen to them? And the other thing is, after a while, I just got overwhelmed by the sheer volume of material that they cranked out. Didn't they crank out an album like every year? I mean, I no more get used to the idea that, oh, yeah, Motorhead released an album not too long ago. Oh, here's another one? Really? Oh, man. Okay. And I mean, Mickey D, amazing. Like I said, if you've seen my other show about some of the vinyl swag, I got a really cool Motorhead album autographed, But, and like I say, love Lemmy. My favorite Motorhead album, by far, is one that caused a lot of controversy too. It's from 1983. It's called Another Perfect Day. Now, this was an odd sort of experiment that for most people failed, where Fast Eddie had left the band to start Fastway, and they brought in Brian Robertson from Thin Lizzy. They brought in Robbo. And I thought, wow, what a weird pairing, right? But Robinson gave them just this extra sense of melody that I just don't feel in most Motorhead records. Okay? And again, like I said, a lot of the later stuff, I mean, anything past about, I don't know, rock and roll maybe, Gasmatron, somewhere in there. I'm trying to think the last record I might have is maybe 1916. So that stuff passed. I mean, I've heard bits and pieces. I've heard it at friends' house, blah, blah, blah. But I don't really know much of the stuff beyond that. So if you have some recommendations, I'm all for it. Okay? So let the comments start flying, but that's my list. If you have some bands that you would kind of like more than you do, but you just don't, put those in there. Maybe we agree, maybe we disagree. It's all cool. But, I'd be interested to see what bands you kind of feel that way about too. So again, wanted to do something a little bit different today. And I thank you guys for listening. Always, just keep on coming back. Like, subscribe, and make some comments, and we'll see you then.